Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Local Chat, episode 149. I'm your host, Will Crosby. Joining me this week is Adjust the VCR tracking for the clearest picture, and Ian Gibson.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name's Ian. I'm tired. Are you tired, Will?
I slept the best sleeps ever last night. I hopped into bed about 9 o'clock, first of all.
Love it.
Watched an episode of Star Trek. Then
Okay. I'll allow it.
I read almost a full chapter of Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I snuggled on down in, put my head on that pillow, and I slept from like 10:30 to, I think, 7:30, which was wonderful.
Okay. Solid 9 hours of sleep. Can I pick one detail in there and start an argument?
Is it watching a TV show in bed?
No. It's the book. So this was brought up during Extra Life weekend. And I didn't say anything because I thought my feelings were mixed. But I have since gained very strong opinions, which is that ebooks are better than books. Like, just pretty much across the board. And here's the reason why, if I may. I've been reading Brandon Sanderson book. And
Yes.
It's very good. Here's the problem. It's 1,200 pages, and it's a paperback. And even if it was a hardback, it is hard to hold a 1,200 page book. And it is hard to read a book and like have your eyes go all the way to the crease in the center and then come back out, and the crease in the center back out. And you can't really lay on your side and read a book. It's hard. And so I have this struggle where I'm 80 pages in. I'm really enjoying the book. I want to read it more. I did not read the book before I went to bed last night. And you know why? Because I was too tired to hold the book up. And I knew that. And I was like, instead, I'm just going to sit on my phone for another 10 minutes and then go to sleep. Whereas if I had my e-reader, if it was on my Kindle, zero hesitation. Whip the Kindle out. It's lighter. It's easier to hold. It's you just have one hand and you just move your thumb for the pages. You don't have to turn pages, and you can lay on your side. So you know what? I'm coming down hard on this. E-readers pretty much across the board are better than physical books. The only thing physical books are better at is display and like perusing used copies at bookstores. That's it. E-readers are better. Putting my foot down.
Yeah, I can see that. My only other caveat to that, or like things they don't do better, is like going back and checking something in it easily.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that too. Yeah. It's just a conversation was around like, I like the feel of a book in my hands, and abstractly I was like, yeah, I think I agree with that. And then last night was the perfect example. It's not the first time it happened, but it genuinely upset me that I was like, I want to read this book, but I don't want to hold the book. And that has pushed me over the edge where now I am full blown Kindle boy, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and I would be a bit more on, I mean, if there were used ebooks or cheaper ebooks, I should say.
They're like free ebooks. Yeah.
Yeah. If there was stuff like that, that would be nice. But I don't know. I think I still prefer reading a physical book. I like the e-reader. I can't read on my side. It just sounds odd to me. But if I'm too tired to hold a book, I mean, the only use case I use an e-reader over a book normally is travel and if I need to turn the lights out.
Mm-hmm.
But usually when I'm reading a physical book, now I just put a copy on my Kindle as well, in case I need it.
I think purchasing books and browsing books, totally, definitely prefer that physical. You can't really do that digital. But the actual reading of the book, 100% digital. It's just a much nicer, easier experience. Let me ask you, for your reading on your side, you ever browse your phone on your side, laying on your side? Okay. It may be just a me thing. Sometimes I'm a big fetal guy sometimes. Where I'm just like, let me curl in the fetal position.
I'll
Go to sleep or relax.
I'll lay on my chest, on my elbow, and like half. It's a weird contortion. Like I'm basically laying on my chest. And I'll go on my phone that way. I'll sometimes lay on my side and prop my head up and read my Kindle, but it makes my arm fall asleep like within 5 minutes. So, which is why I don't usually do it.
See, it's kind of like half fetal position, but then half T-Rex, because I got one arm out in like a T-Rex position. It's just like click, 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 and it's just. I just had to bring that up because it's a constant topic of conversation for us, books versus e-readers. And last night was the first time that I've gotten genuinely upset that I had a book in physical form versus Kindle. And I was like, I made a mistake here, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I did it with Robert Jordan and I did it with Brandon Sanderson. I just put them on my e-reader, just in the inevitability that I actually learned that years ago when I was reading Name of the Wind, and I was at a car tire place, and it was supposed to be like a 15-minute thing, and they were like, you're gonna be here for like 3 hours, and I was like, and I quickly found a PDF of it and just read like 40 chapters. It was great. We should start burning books because we got e-readers now,
burn them.
So who needs them?
Burn them.
Burn them. Book burn. Extra Life was this weekend. That was super fun down in Jacksonville, Florida, at the home of Ian Gibson at 487 Richard Nixon Lane. Incredible.
It's a good guess. It's pretty close. Pretty honestly.
Close. It's actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. We raised almost $2,000. 1935, I think, was the final tally.
Great year. Is that the year? No. 33 was when Hitler took power, right?
Yeah, so 2 years after.
Yeah.
The worst. It was fun. I had a blast. I think this year's probably the best year, technically and money raisedly.
Technically, I mean, it's not that I disagree with you. I think it's the one that has been the most demanding, but also went the best.
Yeah.
Because some of our at-home years went like no hitch at all. But that's kind of easy when it's just at home and you're passing it around who's hosting.
Yeah,
that's easy mode.
Easy mode.
I think this is the most technological accomplishment, both in terms of complexity and achievement.
Yeah. So it was a good time. Thanks for everyone who watched and donated. We certainly had a blast. I'm looking forward to next year already. Got ideas churning, ready to go.
What was your favorite part and your least likable part? The part you suffered through the most?
My favorite part was when Jake made Optimus Prime has dementia because
can I just say it's not even that funny, but it's just the perfect type of joke at the perfect moment where you're like, I'm losing it and I don't know why.
There's just something about I don't know if this came across when I said it, but I was just imagining that was in the movie too. He's just forgets or it's like Optimus Prime is the actor and there's a blooper of him forgetting Sam Witwicky the line and he has to do it again.
Yeah.
Maggie was there a little bit. I'm not sure. She's not technically savvy, so we're not allowed to. Also, she just screams constantly.
It's weird, sometimes she just barges in on streams to play for the camera. Mm-hmm. And then other times, a majority of the time, she just does not want to be on camera for anything whatsoever. So I think this is one of those times where she was like, I don't want to be involved in any of this.
It's in our intro, but the time she burst in and said she has a son, or he has a son, and then you said she's watching Forrest Gump, and Jake just goes, that is not what I expected you to say.
Yeah.
like some historical event.
Yeah.
I
mean, what was your least favorite part of
least
Extra
favorite
Life?
part was not being able to beat Balteus on stream. Balteus, whatever his stupid name is.
Yeah. I mean, you were doing good, but also, yeah, yeah, I could see that. Your pride was wounded.
Yeah, but I mean, this can ease right in. I have beaten 2 more bosses after Baltius, including the giant cinder, like the cleaner he's called. He's got these giant arms of flame and like smashes down and tries to gobble you up. And then I beat the sea spider today, which took maybe about an hour. I took an hour and then took a break and then tried it again, and I made it through that, and then I just hit up the arena for some extra cash, and now I've crossed. It was awesome because after I beat that boss, you are launching across the continent to the ice wastes, and it's just this train barge that gets rocket launched into the air, and then it like blows apart, and then each individual train car like flies itself down in
Cool.
through all the coral. So it was super
Awesome.
fun. That game, you're rushing me here, and I would like to talk.
Yeah, it's for me, favorite part, surprisingly,
Wow.
was the Make It Rain segment where we threw cash. It was a lot of fun throwing cash into the air.
It's true.
I felt like I was hogging it a bit because I was the one that jumped up and grabbed the cash. And I know you guys threw some as well, but I think I threw the most. And it was just a lot of fun to throw that in the air, especially throwing it into the fan and watching it just literally rain, just come down. That was a lot more fun than I thought it would be, honestly.
What was your least favorite?
Least favorite. Look, technically we had a great stream, but it was always frustrating being in the producer role behind the desk and listening to fucking everybody just put their mics in the worst position and constantly breathe on them and scratch them. And I was like losing my mind because I'm like, I am the least like AV experienced person here, and yet everybody else is just constantly fucking their mics, you know? And it was just like, and it was just like, I was trying hard not to yell at people all the time, but I know I was doing it a lot where I was just like, adjust your mic, don't breathe into it, don't shake the ball box right up against your mic. That's the part that still drives me crazy. We have a different mic setup planned for next year. Hopefully that will resolve some of it. But probably my least favorite part was being in the producer role, just because I felt like I had to start micromanaging because of how bad it was sounding. But at least it didn't sound as bad as last year, you know?
Yeah, I realized
did you feel that?
When I was in the producer role that we forgot to set the bottom limiters ratio, the threshold, because they were on all of them, but their threshold was way too low, so it was letting everything through. So I forgot to switch that, which wouldn't have helped with everything, but also not having the windscreens on them when they should have been on.
Why? I thought we put them on them. Did somebody take them off?
No,
I thought they were on when we tested.
No, we took them off because
fucking idiots.
But I
didn't
don't
take
think
them off.
I mean, none of the mics had them on. But that was more of the wind. Like, I don't think that would have helped with the rubbing, but it would have helped. We didn't think about breathing because we had turned that fan off, which usually isn't an issue, which is crazy because sometimes those mics like can rub against anything and it doesn't even pick it up. So I think we just had some of the sensitivity up a little too high.
But part of it was also clipping. Like, I realized halfway through I got very good at clipping it, so the mic was half an inch off my shirt. And then I was looking at everybody else, and everybody else was clipping it so the mic was on the shirt rubbing it.
Yeah.
So genuinely part of it was just we did not know how to use lav mics, you know, and that was frustrating because we had better mics this year and they sounded better, but we were still fucking amateurs in that sense, and that's frustrating. And it's also live stream to realize that, you know.
We didn't have we obviously didn't have live monitors out there, so none of us knew when we were making noise. Like, we had monitors, you would hear it, but but it still worked out really well. I think it sounded better than last year for sure.
And I think the fact that that is by far the worst technical element of the show is a great sign, because everything else went very, very smoothly.
Yeah. And also the weird, static buildup on the Focusrite, which was a weird thing, but
Yeah, I think it was just the Mixer Focusrite desktop. We were probably not synchronized and set at the right bit right there across all of them. But once we realized the easy fix, it was fairly easy to do.
Yeah, wasn't too bad. Yeah, Extra Life 2023, 2024 will be even better, and will raise hopefully more money. I never thought we would raise this close to this amount. So
yeah, that's part of the problem is we raised so much money. We raised more than 50% above what we did last year, because last year was like 1,200, 1,300 something. The problem now is we have to raise at least 2,000 next year, and that's even more pressure. Not that we have to, but it won't feel good if we raise less than we did the previous year. So folks, start saving your money. November 2024, that's when, look, save $10 every paycheck between now and then, and you'll have $260 ready for charity.
Yep, and save a penny quarter every day, and you'll have $1 million by the end of the year.
$90? Yeah, you'll have $90.
You'll have $90 million by if you send me a quarter.
Yeah.
Plus a quarter.
Stamps cost 35 cents. Yeah.
A quarter and plus one to me every day.
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. / and you'll make $1 million.
We're just trying. There's a punchline in here somewhere. Don't know where it is. We're gonna keep going till we get there.
I'd buy that for $1
a day.
A day
makes Extra Life great.
Times 3. You're gonna throw a quarter really hard at me every day for Will. East hard, very hard. You're gonna throw a quarter very hard east every day. There's gonna be a neighbor east of you who's for years is gonna have a red string board about who's throwing quarters, who's making noises.
I was gonna say that's, I'm reading fantasy right now, and one of the things that's cool about fantasy is you get to make shit up. And that sounds like an incredible detail for a fake religion, is that anytime they have change, they have to throw at least part of it to the east. So they walk out of a store and they throw pennies to the east every time.
It's that should be
for the change, God.
It should be like some money bank religion, and so you're throwing the quarter towards the bank of wherever the main bank is, like the Vatican or Mecca, but it's the bank version of that. So you're throwing the quarter towards that, and since it's a religion about money, it's teaching you as much as we worship and love money, all money must return. So you throw it.
It must be disposable. Yeah,
that'd be great. Let's read some Bible verses. Anyways, it was super fun. So thank you everyone who tuned in for that. Moving on to the video game section. I basically already tackled most of my Armored Core. It's fun. It's good. I'm making my way through it.
Let me ask you a question. You played Armored Core most of the first chapter. Then you gave up on it. Now you're in your resurgence. Has your opinion of the game actually changed, or is it still more of the same opinion? You're just now back playing it again.
Well, I don't think my opinion on it's changed, but to be fair, this is gonna sound harsh. That game pissed me off so much that I was just mad at it. Be fair, it's a beautiful, gorgeous game that plays really well. It was just with the back-to-back bosses pissed me off, and being stuck in that position. So while I do think that's a terrible game mechanic and I hate it, I do think this game, looks gorgeous, plays super. It's the best mech playing game I've ever played, because it doesn't have the stupid, you control the front half and the back half, or the top and the bottom separately, which is always the worst in video games. I get there's some people who want to do that, but I don't want to do that. So no, I still think the game's great, and going through it has just been more like I'm not 100% there on the story yet, but going through it has felt fun, and you come back to it and you're like, oh, I'll just do some arenas for a little bit and make some money, and then I'll try out these new weapons, and then I'll just go do a mission. So my only problem is
really well.
Yeah, not going into a mission not knowing if there's going to be a boss in it, but you can kind of gauge that by by how much the payout for the mission is. Like, well, all of a sudden the mission's like 300,000 credits. You're like, there's probably a boss at the end of this stupid fight.
Yeah. So, I also hated that. I wanted the game to be faster in terms of get me into the action so much faster. And it feels like, I mean, fuck, I don't even think this is an exaggeration. It feels like 25 to 50% of your playtime in that game is in menus, loading screens, cutscenes. And it's only 50 to 75% of the game that you are actually playing the game. The flying, the shooting, the scooting, you know. And for me, that was really pissing me off because the missions are pretty short. The non-boss missions are what, like 3 to 10 minutes. So it's like, that was cool. Give me another one. Oh fuck! Now I have to thumb through like 3-4 minutes of menus and cutscenes and voiceover. Okay, I'm in here. Oh, okay, fuck. Now I got another 3 minutes. That was frustrating me. So like, you say you were getting frustrated by it. For me, it was the frustration with the difficulty, which again is like my general frustration with From Software, which is like, we get it. You know how to make a difficult game, but why can't you just fucking make it a little bit easier? Have some modes and options in there so it opens it up to players who don't enjoy that challenge, you know? And then the other thing was just get me into the action more action more quickly. Nothing against the story. It's just like, geez, man, let me actually play the game, you know?
Yeah, I think, I agree on most of that. Like, it's Armored Core. That's what Armored Core is. I think if they touted it as like, actually, let me say this. I would love an arcade version of Armored Core that is what you're describing. Like, you're right in, mission after mission, going around. It's pretty easy to defeat things, all that sort of stuff. But now, having gotten further in it, I think it does exactly right what it set out to do, which is like, you're on this planet, you're fighting these, this is almost like a boss rush, taking these guys down. You're spending a while on you're making sure your stuff works out. And it's actually like Elden Ring and like Dark Souls that are their lesser stat-based video games, and you don't realize that until you play Armored Core. You're like, oh, this is not easy. This is advanced Dark Souls now. But although I wouldn't say it's quite as hard, but that's kind of what I said was the game is not doing it wrong. It is just taking every single design decision, not every single one, majority of its game design decisions, it's taking a left turn when I want it to take a right. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's going the wrong direction. It's just going a different direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me Armored Core Lite, where like you said, it's an arcade version. The challenge is not beating the level. It's how quickly can you beat the level. It's the grade you get at the end of the level, but it's not like, oh, I'm not going to beat the level. You know, that's the direction I wish they took it because it's fun. Like you said, it controls great. It's a lot of fun killing people, scooting around, missiles, lock-ons, etc. Especially the cool thing where you're like painting targets and you're like, 2 for you, 2 for you, 2 for you, fuck all of you, and you're firing 6 missiles and stuff. It's just I wanna have more fun with that. And my version of fun is like, make me uber powered, make me kill a whole bunch of things, don't make me worry about dying, you know?
Yeah. I wish they should just make 2 versions of their games, like Pokemon.
Or didn't Earth Defense Force do that at some point? Where they were like, we're going to do some offshoot ideas and then we'll have the core series. There's plenty. There's series. Forza does that. Forza Horizon versus Forza Motorsport. It's like, hey, you want the series? Here you go. You want more arcadey? Here you go. That's genuinely what they should do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Well, it's fun, and I'm playing it, and it's good, and I'm glad I'm playing it again.
Good for you, buddy.
Nightmare. Get good is all I can say. People can't be bosses. Get good. The other stuff I've been playing, I have hooked up my new racing wheel. I have driven with it. I have played some Euro Truck. I let Karen play some Euro Truck today, and she did like 3 or 4 jobs. And I just could hear her from the other room being like, "No, get out of my way!" And was when I checked in on her again, she had one of those ones where you were guided. You had 2 guide cars, and I think she had like a house or something on the back of it.
How did the actual setup go? like the wheel, the pedals, etc. Is it fitting well?
So it was good. I first tested it with Gran Turismo, which I don't know if I was doing it wrong. I did not like how it felt in Gran Turismo. But that also could be the fact that I was just used to playing it with a controller, but I feel like I wasn't getting force feedback in Gran Turismo. And I wonder if
like not at all, or
like
not enough?
like I was like pressing like the accelerator and stuff, and it just like wasn't feeling like it was really letting me brake and hit the gas.
Yeah, you may have to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just a game. But anyways, I came out here and I set it up all out here, got it working with Euro Truck, and mapped a bunch of keys onto the wheel, and then from there I did like half a trip, and then Karen came home and I let her play, and it worked pretty well. It feels really good. The next thing is like, oh, track IR, or does your truck have VR support?
I want to say yes. I've seen people playing it that way. The problem with that is
You can't see the wheel.
So I did iRacing in VR, and for a little bit, and you do drive better with it because you start to feel like natural, like you're looking over your shoulder and stuff. The problem is it's just you're already sitting in front of a wheel and pedals, right? And then you also got to wear this headset, and then you got wires trailing off of it, and then the resolution as well is a little iffy, so it's not going to look as good as having the screen in front of you. So I mean, you have that ultra wide, right? And that's not that far from the edge of your desk.
Yeah, I could do that.
So
I was thinking
pretty good.
How much? Track IR is fairly cheap, right?
It is, but I don't like the idea of you move your head, but you don't move your eyes, and that just freaks me out.
Oh, I don't mind.
You know. So what I find works really well for me is I've got a 32-inch 4K. And I strap the wheel to the desk, and then I just sit, relatively close to the wheel. So basically, I just have the monitor fill as much of my vision as possible. And for me, that works fine. And iRacing does this really well. Other games, you may have to tweak it. iRacing literally has a calculator in game for the correct field of vision to give you the correct sense of speed and distance. So they're literally like, what's the size of your monitor and how far away is your eyes from it? And you put that in as a calculator, it calculates your field of view. And even though it's a little bit limited left and right, it'll give you the field of view where you feel like you're actually in a car and everything's lining up and you can judge braking distances and stuff.
Okay. Does your truck support multiple monitors? Because I realized I could do this monitor over here as
I think so.
Side. So I could just look at that so I can see my mirrors.
I mean, I would just set it to buttons on the wheel.
Yeah.
Probably do the shifters left, right. iRacing has a really good, it has Crew Chief, which has Spotter in it. So basically, I mean, there's a lot of racing series in real life that use this, where you literally have somebody watching you. So if somebody's on your right-hand side, they say on your right. So they're like telling you there are cars near you. Or if you're like 3 wide, they'll be like 3 wide, maintain, you're on the bottom. So they're basically telling you your position instead of you having to constantly look around and see if there's somebody next to you or not, which is helpful. So yeah, there's people who love VR and racing. I mean, you could totally give that a shot. Just for me, it was like too much tech all at once. It wasn't working as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to report back. I'll look into it. And then Jake talked about it in the Discord, but the Japan Train Models JR East Edition is this game that came out for the Switch, and I believe on Steam. You're essentially building Japanese train models. They're puzzles. They go from easy, medium to hard. You rotate. So basically, in front of you is the model. You rotate it 45 degrees, or no, 90 degrees. You rotate it 90 degrees, so you go around 360, and you are lining up the pieces that are in your inventory with the correct 90-degree turn of the model and then it'll like glow, and you'll place it there, and you're building the models. They get more and more advanced. So like an easy model of the locomotive will be like 4 or 5 parts, and then a hard version of that is you building each of those sub assemblies before you're putting it into the full train. So they have the puzzle mode, and then they have the diorama mode, which gives you blank dioramas that you can place buildings, people, cars, like an entire Japanese town, and you put that down, and it looks really cool. And you can then ride the train in the town.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this, but this is like actual model railroad building. Like, have you ever been to a model railroad show where they're like, everybody has the same table size for the diorama, and then they have it planned out where they connect to each other? Like, it has you, the layout mode has you building the same like table size layouts.
Yeah.
This is cool.
It's really neat. I think might have been $20, might have been 15. It was really, I mean, it's fun. I just playing it on the Steam Deck, and just like putting together the trains, and then I was playing around in the diorama mode, and I'm like, what if I put a little village together? Because I know Jake also bought it, so what if he puts a little village together, and we can look at
Does it have multiplayer?
Villages. That part I don't know. On the Steam Deck, the achievements currently show up in Japanese. I have no idea what I have unlocked, but I'm just happy to have...
What if they're all like racist? Like, white boy built a plane.
I don't think so. They haven't put this company hasn't put out any more of these, because it said Junior East Edition, and I thought maybe there was a West.
Are you sure?
Or something like that.
Are you sure that's Junior, or is that like?
It might be JR.
Well, it wouldn't be Japanese Railroad, because it would be like NR for Nippon Railroads.
Yeah, but regardless, I wasn't sure because of East if there was like a West, or if there was just a regular Japan train Japan train models. And I only looked at the publisher on Steam, so I didn't do a deep dive. So maybe there is by other publishers, or maybe there is lower down, but I don't know. I looked it up. It was pretty fun. I would recommend snagging it if you like trains and dioramas.
Cool.
And building
Great
things.
job.
Finally, Frog Detective I went back to. I beat the first case, the one we had started on stream a while back. It is on Game Pass, so I was playing it on the Xbox. And that, aside from us guessing the bit about he was looking for his best detective to put on the case, and they both go, "Oh, you mean Lobster Cop?" That joke continues into the second case.
Nice.
In the first case, Frog Detective comes out at one point and is just like, "Oh, yeah, what do you mean you're reading that in books? Don't you know books are all wrong? You should be looking up your facts on the internet. Everything's true on the internet." And it hard cuts from that to the developer modeled in the same style, saying like, "Hey, developer here, I just wanted you to understand that we don't actually think books are worse than the internet. Most books are well researched," like this whole thing. And then it cuts back, and Frog Detective's or the other guy Frog Detective was talking to goes, "So what you're telling me is books are basically useless?" And Frog Detective was like, "Well, yeah." And I was like, what a weird bit.
Oh my god.
It was hilarious, first of all, but I wasn't sure if the developer added themselves in the version, or if it was that way the whole time. I was just like, what is going on here? And then the first one ends with a phone call, like cliffhanger. And then when the second one starts, you're not on the phone, and you pick up the phone, and it's just the guy on the other line going, "Why did you hang up? We were in the middle of a conversation." And I was like, that is an incredible bit for two games that were probably a year apart or a couple months apart. Just being like, "Oh yeah, it was a cliffhanger," and you picked up mid-conversation.
Jeez.
So yeah, the more I'm playing it, like, it's very much this second case. You have a notebook, you have like suspects, you can cast suspicious on them, like mark them, and there seems to be a lot more like research and stuff like that in the second game. Because I was afraid the first game is trading up items until you have all the items to finish the game. And I was afraid it was going to be more of that in this one. And it seems like there is a bit of those items still, but there's more details where you'll actually have to figure out like a whodunit and accuse people and all that sort of stuff. So excited for that. It's on Game Pass, Frog Detective. It is be ready to read. It's a lot of reading. It's good writing. It's silly writing. It's almost like I think you should leave writing.
Yeah.
Which is what I would say. So if you're kind of into that, pick it up or play it on Game Pass. Ian, those are all the games I've been playing. Sorry for taking so long. I squeezed all of those in. Actually, I squeezed all of those in yesterday, which is wild, and today because I didn't work today. Tell me about you've been playing so many games. Your list is going for miles. Tell me all about them.
I've been playing 4 games.
4 games.
Called Pikmin.
Mm-hmm.
Pikmin 4 specifically.
Okay.
Am I playing Pikmin 4? That's the one that just came out, right?
Yeah, with the dog.
It's one of those things. You ever have those game names that you can't remember or that doesn't sound right? I keep wanting to say Pikmin 3, but no, it's Pikmin 4. This is my first Pikmin game. I previously talked about how I played about 30 minutes of it, and the game would not let me play it. Look, folks, I stuck with this game because a lot of people get a lot of praise for this game. But this game has one of the worst openings to a video game I've ever played because it does. It's so frustrating. Like, the game will not let you play it for like 90 minutes because the game is literally, it starts out and I can't even remember. I think you have it starts out and there's like a cutscene, right? And then you land and then there's like somebody talking to you. So you got to go through dialogue. And then it's like, oh, here's your Pikmin. And you like walk 10 feet and then it goes, oh, somebody's going to talk to you. So then you have to go through dialogue and they're like, you should go see what's over there. And then you walk 10 feet and then it's another like 10 pieces of dialogue. And then they're like, you should do this. And so then you throw like 3 Pikmin. And then it's like, oh, cool. Now we're going to go to a cutscene and we're going to go to another mission, which is another cutscene. And then we're going to go to more dialogue. Hey, here's control back. Walk. Oh, wait. Literally 10 seconds later. Hey, did you see that? Maybe we should have some dialogue about it. And it's fucking insufferable. It's so bad. Like, they just don't let you play the game. And it's not even like they are necessarily telling you a lot of stuff. It's that they are constantly taking control away from you to show you something or to talk to you about something. And half the time it's very obvious or it's just like filler story. Whereas somebody being like, whoa, we're on a strange planet. I guess we're marooned here. And it's just like, yeah, I get it. Why do we keep having conversations about this? So anyways, after about 45 minutes to an hour, you finally get to a point where they let you have your first day. And that's kind of the structure of Pikmin, is that you have a day, which I don't know how long a day is on the clock, maybe 10, 15 minutes in real life time. And you're going around an area and you're gathering Pikmin and you're solving little puzzles and gathering stuff. And even then, they're constantly stopping you to tutorialize stuff. They're like, oh, look, it's something shiny, And I think I'm 10 days in, so I've done 10 iterations of that. I'm probably like 83% done with the first area, so I've done a lot of it. And I have more control over the game now. Like, I am actually playing the game now. There are still moments where it's like, whenever I drop into an area, there's always a little bit of dialogue, and that's frustrating. Or it's like, I found a castaway or something, and they're like, oh, here's a little bit of dialogue. And they just, it's cute. It's not cute enough to be entertaining, and there's way too much of it. So it's not like the quality of it is necessarily bad. It's that the quality is not good enough for me to enjoy the amount of interruptions they have in the game. I think I'm enjoying the core gameplay loop. You go around, you find Pikmin, you see a little puzzle, you figure out how to do it. It's kind of annoying though, because you're having to juggle your Pikmin a lot. Like, there was some stuff I was doing and I was like, oh, I don't have enough of that Pikmin, so I have to run back to the ship and get like balance my Pikmin out. Oh, now I'm going to come over here and do this. Oh no, it's the end of the day. I don't want to lose my Pikmin. So now I have to go run around and babysit them. And it's just constantly like if I'm like 60-second walk away from my ship and I see something and I tell 2 Pikmin to go pick it up, it's like, well, those 2 Pikmin are going to be just chilling at the fucking ship until I go all the way back there and pick them up. And I'm at a decent point where I have like 40 Pikmin that I can walk around. But in my head, I'm just going, okay, that gives me like I can pick up probably 10 items, but then at some point I'm going to have to fucking backtrack in the middle of the day and go back to my ship and find all these lazy fucking Pikmin and blow the whistle and be like, yo, fuckos, get back to work. And then they follow me. Like, it has all these little things that are very frustrating in it, honestly. And the reason why they're frustrating is because last year I played a game called Tinykin, and it was just so much better. It was so much more polished. It's not even like a lot more quality of life stuff, but it made me less frustrated at the game. And the puzzles felt better, and the collecting felt better, and the areas felt better, and the gameplay felt better. So I am enjoying Pikmin 4. I mean, I played it for like 2-3 hours straight last night. It's nice to zone out to it, but it's frustrating. It's like I did not expect this to happen, which is that Pikmin, it's a game on its own. Everybody loves Pikmin. Tinykin comes out and everybody's like, hey, if you love Pikmin, you could try out Tinykin. It's like an indie Pikmin. It's really good. And I'm like, cool, I'll try that. Hey, it's really great. I love this game. Pikmin 4 comes out. Everybody's like, it's the best Pikmin game ever made. It's going on my, game of the year list. It's fantastic. You got to try it. I try it and I'm like, this is Pikmin? Like the AAA fucking Nintendo franchise is not as good as the indie series that copied them last year. And it's kind of surprising, honestly, because it feels like they're putting more into Pikmin, but the way in which they've implemented more and the way in which the core gameplay loop goes, it's not as good as Tinykin, y'all. It's wild. I don't know. Do you have any desire to play Pikmin 4?
I mean, I think eventually, but I agree with you. I think Pikmin, they're like, hey, what if we just kept making Pikmin games? And then Tinykin was like, hey, we like Pikmin, but let's not copy them. Let's make a different game. And like add more elements to it, where Tinykin is almost like the sequel to Pikmin, and the other Pikmin games are just more levels of Pikmin.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Because again, Pikmin 4 is my first Pikmin game, but it feels like a lot of the things that I'm frustrated with were probably in the original series, and it feels like, again, out on a limb here, but it feels like they're like, oh, that's how it works in Pikmin, because that's a core Pikmin mechanic. It's always been like that. And they will change things, they'll change the timer, remove the timer, etc., and they'll add stuff to it. But my frustration problem is not with the new stuff. It's with the core stuff, like having to constantly go back to my ship to pick up the Pikmin, etc. And it's just like, that's the thing where I'm like, maybe I don't like Pikmin, and maybe I'm really a Tinykin person. I thought I would be both, but Tinykin just does it better, flat out.
Yeah, I think you have to be a Pikmin person to play. Like, I don't think 4 is gonna onboard anyone new to Pikmin. Like, who doesn't already know what it is. But at least, like, I played a lot of 1 when that HD remaster came out, and like, I understood how it works, the mechanics and everything, but it's just like, I don't know if I want to do it when there's other games to play. Maybe like if like I would pick it as like a vacation game or like a holiday game or something. But
it's probably a great playing game, because I genuinely just sat on the couch for like 2.5 hours playing it yesterday. It was a great way to kill time.
How's it in handheld mode? Good.
Honestly, I think it's even better in handheld mode because the UI is a bit blown up for the TV. So it seems fine in handheld. I did have the problem that David talked about when he was on, which is that there are, I think they're called Dandori battles, where basically you come across like rival Pikmin leaders, Pikmin wranglers, and they're like, I'm going to challenge you to like this 2-minute battle in this special space. And they're AI, but you play them split screen. So you just see what the AI is doing. And it's just annoying because you're like, why are you taking half of my fucking... I'm in single player. Why are you taking half my fucking screen? And it's just lazy fucking game making, basically. And that's frustrating. But other than that, it's totally fine in handheld mode.
Do you think the AI only gets to see half a screen as well?
I can't. It's like... What if how we accidentally get to like general artificial intelligence is a game designer like making making an AI for a game, but they make it in such a way that it behaves just like a human is playing. And they accidentally like stumble into sentience because it's in like an Overwatch bot mode.
Yeah. It's weird. I think that's I've always thought of it that way is and this might just be me. I've always thought of AI as AI playing the game, not AI literally being the NPCs.
Yeah.
So like that'd be wild if you did train an AI to like obviously there's no way to tell an AI.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a way, but it's not like the AI sees half a screen. Like you can't make them visualize it, but if you could
it's all like algorithm detection modes like, hey, from this, can this character see the player? No. Okay, then go to next corner node. Can you see the player? No, then go to next node. Basically. But like actually that's very funny as if there was a game who did make their multiplayer who made their AI behave like the player where they have to input. They have to do inputs. Yeah, like they're feeding inputs into the game. That would be wild.
That'd be crazy.
That's a good idea.
I'm glad you're enjoying Pikmin 4 and you've played it. And it's super fun. I'm glad you're having such a fun time with it.
I have played it.
You have played it. Well, that's all the video games, which means it's time to move over to the news section. Ian hurriedly working his little toes and typing on the keyboard on the floor to let me know one of these news stories was updated. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yes. According to Insider Gaming, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is dead. This is from Mike Straw at Insider Gaming. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is dead. At least that's what Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb had to say on Friday morning during his Games Mess morning show. Quote, I just want to clear it up. This game is not being worked on now. Just full stop. This game is not being worked on anyway at any studio. This is after, the remake was announced in 2021. It was developed by Aspire Media, and then Embracer Group shifted the game over to Saber Interactive in October of 2022. It's kind of just been shuffling around a lot. However, about an hour ago, Jason Schreier said that, quote, can't say whether the KOTOR remake will ever actually come out, but yes, 2 people from Saber Interactive tell me they're still on it despite recent rumors that nobody is working on the game. So, folks, depending on who you believe, there is somewhere between 0 to 2 people currently working on the KOTOR remake. Will, is this news as depressing to you as it is to me?
As that they are working on it or that they aren't working on it?
The fact that even if they are working on it, they're barely putting any effort to it. That the game is on ice at best.
I'm sad because there's always that internal struggle that I feel like you and I face, which is, do I play the game now or do I wait for the remaster? And KOTOR is one of those games where I'm like, hey, there's that like updated graphics iPad version or whatever. It's like, what if I just pop it on my Steam Deck and I just play on there? Wait a minute. This is an interesting conversation.
But I just remembered something else we talked about in Discord, and I'm still very confused about it. Okay, so this is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, right? You said remaster. I'll just consider that a flub. This is a remake.
Yeah.
We were talking in Discord, and I said we were talking about the Resident Evil 4 remake, and I believe you and some other people said it's not a remake.
Resident Evil 4 remake, no, it's not a remaster.
No, but you guys said it was a remake. You guys said it wasn't a remake.
No, okay. No. Remasters take a game and up-res it and keep everything the same and make it look nice.
Yes. And everything. Yes, agree.
The riding line currently, I feel like Dead Space rides the line because it's pretty much functionally the exact same game, but it's not just a texture up-res, it's like a completely new engine, completely new everything. It's not like the Alan Wake remaster where they just up-resed Alan Wake. So that's that. They call that it's just called Dead Space. Remake is an added term to that. Same with Resident Evil 4. It's just called Resident Evil 4. People add remake to it. The new Resident Evil 4 that came out. The point I was making is someone said, should remakes and remasters be considered for Game of the Year? which remasters I don't necessarily think so. Remakes,
I'm sorry.
I think.
Can I break in here? Can I read your own words to you?
Yeah.
So this is in reference to RE4. You said, quote, remakes are tricky. It is essentially a brand new game. Spider-Man 2 is more of a remake than RE4, to be honest. And then Carl said, I mean, it's not a remake, but I know what you mean. RE4 ain't really a remake. And then you said there's a reason remake isn't in its title, too. And then I said, wait, I thought it was a remake and not a remaster or a reboot. Is there another RE I'm missing? And you said it's a remake in the sense of 2 or 3 remakes, but a lot more changes and redesign. And Carl says, yeah, it's essentially a different game. And you said versus Dead Space, which is a remake. I'm so fucking lost here. It's a remake, right? It's a remake.
That's a different... that was an argument of someone saying if a game is remade, it can't be Game of the Year, which I don't agree with. A remake is a fundamental changing of a video game. If you were to put Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 Remake next to each other, they're mostly the same story, but they're completely different video games in the sense of engine, level layout, how you input in the game. Wait a minute.
But do you consider RE4 a remake?
Yeah, it's a remake of Resident Evil 4.
Okay, so the confusion is that that's not what you said in the Discord, but now that I'm listening to you, that is what you're saying.
My point in the Discord was Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is the same game as Marvel Spider-Man 1 with new features added to it. It's the same engine, it's the same swinging, same map with the added area.
So it's a sequel. It's a sequel
versus the remake. Like the remake of Resident Evil 4 is a completely different game from Resident Evil. Like I was just making a point.
No, see, I wouldn't say completely different, because completely different is where you get to reboot. Reboot is completely different.
Well, I think
in order of difference from least to most, it's remaster, remake, reboot.
Okay, then I would call Resident Evil 4 a reboot. I wouldn't call it a remake.
Yeah, so that I think the line between remake and reboot is tricky.
Were the same thing to me. Are the same.
No, see, for me, reboot is like I'm going to movies here, but I think they have cleaner examples. Total Recall versus the new Total Recall. The new Total Recall is a reboot. It's a different take because it's different story. It's a very different story, very different setting, different characters. The core is still there, but it's vastly different. Have you seen the new? It takes place on Earth. There's like a gravity train. It's like a labor story. Like you could probably say there's 3 main plot points in common, but the rest of it's completely different. So that's why it's a reboot. It's vastly different. I can't think of a good game example.
Yeah, I don't know. I would consider. It is essentially, when you get down to it, a remake, but I think it's more the difference people conflating remaster and remake in the same sentences.
Yeah, remaster is just textures, assets.
Yeah. Like
and,
there's
and
a remaster
of
stuff. KOTOR already, but there's not a remake of KOTOR.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition that came out recently is all remasters.
Right, but if they took that game, put it in a new engine, added new game mechanics, and changed the story, would you call that a remake or a reboot?
I would say, let's take the first thing. Brand new engine, brand new mechanics, brand new assets. That is a remake. They don't necessarily have to change the story.
But I'm saying brand new story. Not brand new story, but they've changed the story.
If they change the story, again, there's levels here of how much gets changed. If they change the story, it becomes a reboot. That's where it starts to blur the line towards a reboot, depending on how much has changed.
To bring that whole conversation to the end, I agree remasters shouldn't be up for Game of the Year, but remakes, I think, deserve to be considered.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a difference between a remake and a completely new game. Like, a completely new game, here's an example: Pikmin 4 and Tinykin. One is a remake and one is a reboot. essentially. Like, what would you? Or
What?
sorry, one is a remaster and one is a reboot. Like,
No, neither of them are either of those.
but
One is a sequel and another is like an homage.
yeah, but the sequel's just a remaster as it goes up. I mean, my point with Pikmin 4 is they haven't
No.
changed anything really in 4 games, where
That's a sequel. though.
Tinykin came across and changed it up.
Yeah, but that's an homage because it's a
Right.
different developer.
But if
different
Nintendo
IP.
didn't, it would have been a remake.
If Nintendo, okay, it's a good scenario. If Tinykin was Pikmin, no number, it's Pikmin, that would be a reboot
Yeah.
because it is taking the core of Pikmin. It's saying fresh start. We're drastically changing things, but it is still technically Pikmin. That
Yeah,
would be a
so
reboot.
That's essentially my point. It's like saying Tinykin couldn't be up for Game of the Year if Nintendo had made it.
Yeah, I don't buy remakes can't be up for Game of the Year. I will say though, they have a handicap against them, which is that they are inherently on a weak footing in the originality department. Because in my head, originality is a big part of Game of the Year. And if you are just remaking something that has been done before, even if you're doing it very well, you have to make a case as to why it is needing to be remade, what makes the remake original compared to a brand new IP game, etc.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the gist of the conversation. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, remaster.
I just got confused because the way I was reading it was like you guys were saying RE4 is not a remake, and I'm like, what the fuck is it then? You know?
Yeah, still like.
It's a remake. It's a remake. Because here's the thing. I played an hour of that game. I understand what you guys are saying, that it's drastically different. But here's the thing. I played an hour of that game and I played an hour of the original. They're very, very similar. It's just like, it's like graphics, quality of life, how the mechanics play. And I know there's extra content in it. It's the same fucking game though, folks.
Yeah.
It's a very good remake. It makes great changes, but it's the same game.
Yeah, I think it's an agree to disagree. Like, I think it's whatever. Who cares? It's.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, but exactly like you said, I don't want to play KOTOR. I don't want to play KOTOR remastered. I do want to play KOTOR remake. Like it's, like Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Like drop it in my lap. I'm ready to play this game today, but I don't want to go backwards for it. So give me a new one. And it's very disheartening to see that this is just stalling out in some studio somewhere. Bring it to me.
Yeah. And I would take, I want to say that remaster's only, I need to look that up because it's not, it's like, I think it's only
It doesn't run
iPad
well.
or something.
Yeah.
And like
I think it's
iOS
iPad
and
and-
stuff.
I think it's like iPad and Xbox maybe.
It's not to further muddy the waters, but I do think they did change some mechanics in the game, but they like left the engine all the same. So
Yeah, because I've looked at it a couple times where I'm like, if I did want to play KOTOR, how would I play it? And people are basically like, very old version, lots of patches, lots of fan mods on top of it, and that may run well enough for you to play.
Yeah. Maybe I'll replay it. I don't know. Depends on if this gets corrected later this week or something.
Probably not. I think it's just going to be sat on until either a year from now they kill it, or it comes out of hiding a little bit to be like, we're rebooting the remaster project. They would have to reboot it. If they move it to a different studio, that would be a reboot of the project. Anyways, Dragon's Dogma 2 release date, also according to Insider Gaming, March 22nd, 2024. We didn't talk about this earlier, but there were some South Korean ratings that came out for the game, which usually happens very close to the game coming out. And now PEGI, the Pan-European Game Information Board, has revealed that Dragon's Dogma 2 release date is March 22nd, 2024 in the PEGI listing. Are you excited?
I'm so freaking excited. That game looks great, and I can't wait to play it. Dragon's Dogma 1 is really good, but it's definitely aged. So please give me the new one and let me play it. It looks really good.
Same. I'm excited. I tried to play the original one. It was fun. I don't even think it was the aging. I think I just wasn't at the right point in my life to appreciate Dragon's Dogma when I tried to play it a year or two ago. Or no, more than that. Like 2.5 years ago. And so like give me a new one, a little bit of quality of life, looks better, it's a strong sequel, hell yeah, I'll play that.
It's weird. I think Dragon's Dogma is confusing in the way Dark Souls is. It's just not like it doesn't tell you anything. It's just like, hey, here's how all these systems works, but we're not going to tell you anything about anything at all either. You're just like, what? So excited for that. They have a showcase next week as well with 15 more. Maybe that's probably where they're going to announce it if they weren't before.
Probably.
It should be fun.
Yep. Very excited to play that. You know what else I'm not excited to play though? The Last of Us Part 2 remastered.
You mean reboot? That's
no,
fun.
This is a remaster.
100% it is a remaster.
Question though. They're teasing a roguelike survival mode. Is it a roguelike?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Anyways, yeah. People have been joking about this, and I think there were actually occasional rumors for it. But basically, this is a PS5 console version of The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Quote, it enhances the original PS4 game in ways not possible before, including graphical improvements, 4K in fidelity mode, improved loading times, and full DualSense wireless controller integration, as well as a roguelike survival mode. And I think there's some early development, like BTS levels you can play. I think the one good thing they're doing with this is I believe they did say that if you currently own the PS4 copy of Last of Us Part 2, I think you only have to pay $10 to get Last of Us Part 2 on the PS5, which is nice. I mean, they charge you already for the PS5 upgrade, so it's nice that they're not going to charge you for this. But who gives a fuck? Is that valid? I think that's kind of valid.
I mean, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. They did it with Death Stranding. They did it with Ghost of Tsushima. I think they did it with
Horizon.
Did they do it with
Horizon? Horizon was the last. I think Horizon was the last free one. Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah. And Death Stranding and Tsushima are $10 as well. So, makes sense.
I hate that they're charging for it though, because Xbox is just like, yo, check it out. You don't own the 360 version. I mean, you don't own the Xbox One version. You don't own the Xbox Series version. You just own this, and you can play it on either console. Yeah. Who cares?
I would also like it to be free.
Yeah.
But at least it's a $10 upgrade and not a full-priced game like Last of Us 1 remaster. Or Last of Us... What was that first remaster called?
Last of Us Part 1. Wasn't it Last of Us Part 1?
Maybe. I didn't think they called it Part 1 until Part 2. But yeah, I don't know. Regardless,
I think I have an image of it here. It's called The Last of Us. Okay, there's Last of Us PS3, Last of Us Remastered on the PS4, and Last of Us Part 1 on PS5.
That's what it is. That's when they called it Part 1. So,
fucking idiots.
I mean, yeah. I mean, people always yell at Naughty Dog for doing remasters too early. And if there wasn't a generational gap, I would have said that. But they keep planning them way too close to generational gaps to not be a business strategy. So,
but I think the other thing is that Last of Us Part 2 was an end of PS4 game. Everybody said it looked fantastic. It ran fantastic. I don't think there is $10 worth of differences between Part 2 PS4 and Part 2 PS5. I just don't. Whereas Part 1 you could understand because they were bringing it into the Part 2 engine, etc.
Right, but I'm saying that first Part 1 remaster was just PS4. Like, it's the same exact situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird because, you know, I'm going to say an idea. It's a little bit of a dumb idea, but it's a little bit of a smart idea. Maybe they should have sat on this until Last of Us Season 2 comes out. Because when Last of Us Season 2 comes out, do they have anything in the hopper to sell to fans of the series? You know, that's part of the reason why they put out Last of Us Part 1 on the PS5 was to jump on the excitement of this TV series going out, the same way Witcher 3 had crazy sales when the Witcher series was on Netflix coming out. So I'm trying to think if they had waited another 2 years and really put a lot more time into this Part 2 remaster, maybe done some significant upgrades to it, maybe had a DLC with it, etc., and then come out with that when Season 2 hit.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, we don't know how
to do
big
that
this.
Anyways, with DLC, I don't know.
You don't know how big this roguelike could be. I mean, it's not going to be some huge thing, but it could be. Could be pretty big. Also, I was reading they added early development versions of 3 of the levels, which I think is really cool. I would like to play those, and as well as the guitar free play, which is another thing I would totally play. And I can't wait to see music videos from people playing random songs in it. Yeah, I mean, it was yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's probably free money for them. It probably was like 0 development cost. That's an exaggeration, but still, like, this was not a big lift for them at all.
Yeah, it was probably a smaller team grabbing it, but I mean, I'm okay with it.
Speaking of a big lift, though, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, which is the base game plus the, I forget what they call it, the most recent patch, which was free, plus Phantom Liberty, which was the paid DLC. It's coming out on the December 5th for PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC. It's basically a way to get the definitive edition of Cyberpunk 2077 with all the upgrades and the Phantom Liberty DLC. Let me ask you a question, William. Are you thinking about buying this?
No.
I believe it's 60.
I mean, I could just buy the DLC for cheaper.
So my concern is I have the original game on Xbox. I don't want to play. I do want to play it again, and I do want to play Phantom Liberty. I don't think I want to play it on Xbox, though. I think I want to play it on PC.
That's a you problem.
Well, maybe I'll play it on Xbox because to your point, then I just have to buy Phantom Liberty. But this makes sense, right? Because there's a lot of people that stayed away from Cyberpunk. Finally, it is having its swan song where it feels like they fixed a lot of the problems, made significant changes, added a lot of stuff to the game, fixed a lot of stuff in the game, a lot of positive buzz around Phantom Liberty. And so now they're just putting it into a single package to make it easy for people to pick it up for the first time and play it. This release makes sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, might as well put the last version of it out before finally moving on.
Yep. You know what does not make sense to me, though?
What?
Is why the Simpsons Hit and Run never got a sequel. Are you a Simpsons Hit and Run fan?
I've never played it.
Man, it's very good. It's basically a PS2 GameCube era Grand Theft Auto, but in the Simpsons universe. So you're running around Simpsons, you're coming into different characters, there's different levels, there's like a Treehouse of Horror level. And by level, I mean like they will like hit some sort of chapter break and the world changes or you unlock extra stuff. But it's basically GTA Simpsons. And it's fantastic. But what came out recently in an interview with MinMax was some of the programmers for Simpsons Hit and Run who said they had ideas for multiple sequels, and they were very surprised because a follow-up game was in the works by Radical Entertainment. But when they heard from their producer that they didn't want to do any sequels. And that's just wild because that game was super popular, sold great, fantastic game. It's a shame. Could have been, right? Could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have. I mean, I don't know anything about The Simpsons, so that's probably another reason I wouldn't have played it. But maybe I'll throw it.
I don't either.
Maybe I'll throw it on the GameCube and see what it's like.
It's very fun. You have any old games that for you were fantastic and deserved a sequel but never got one?
Oh. I mean, Mercenaries got a sequel and it was terrible. It deserved a better sequel.
That deserves a reboot. Mercenaries needs a reboot.
And make it in North Korea again. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's probably still the best place to put it.
And the second one
I
was
feel like-
Venezuela, and Venezuela got very mad.
Yeah, they should. If they missed their window, because around like 2017, they could have just put it in Syria, and it would have been like ISIS, ISIL, Al Qaeda, Hezbollah, Iranian Revolutionary Guard. You would have been flush with enemies to take out in there.
The second
Russians,
one,
Wagner Group.
the
They
second
missed an
one's
opportunity there.
got to Just Cause-y with it, and Just Cause nails what it's going for, but Mercenaries 1 was like semi-serious, tiny bit of that pandemic, the game studio comedy, and gameplay, and then 2 was just like, hey, what if we made it a lot more sillier and stuff, and it was just like, not quite the right.
That's not what I want.
It was like chaos.
Yeah.
Not chaos, it was something else, but yeah. 1 was good. I remember you had a Palm Pilot, and you could go to the Russian website and Mafia website and order stuff. It was very good. I'm trying to think if there's any other games. Do you have any games from your childhood?
The problem is I keep coming up with ones that have sequels, like Red Faction, but we got Red Faction 2 and 3 and Guerrilla, etc. I was thinking about Sid Meier's Antietam, but they did have Antietam and Sid Meier's Gettysburg. Both of those were good.
Yeah, my other one was like, Midtown Madness.
Yeah.
Midtown Madness.
Midtown
Actually, there
Madness.
might have been a sequel to that now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, most of these games I'm saying, they should have a third game, is my point. There should be a third Mercenaries, third Midtown Madness. There should be a third Vigilante 8. And a third, whatever. Yeah. Third Halo. Make a third
honestly,
Halo, finally.
This is not a callback, but all these series need reboots. They're ripe for reboots. You know, where's my Road Rage? Where's my Road Rash? Road Rash?
Road Rash? I think so. Twisted Metal. Are they making a new game? Maybe.
I don't think so. I think it was just the show.
Was it on this show we were talking about how his name isn't Sweet Tooth?
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember in the show if his name is Sweet Tooth.
In the show, his name's Sweet Tooth, and everyone calls him Sweet Tooth. But in the original game, the name of the car is Sweet Tooth, and his name's something else. And something Needles, like Dennis Needles or something. And I guess the show... But I never see people up in arms about it because it's one of those things where it's the right thing, but nobody cares. So it's the same reason, like, when people are up in arms about, like, bigger fandoms, like MCU and stuff, you're like, you know what? Shut up, because nobody cares and we can accept it because it doesn't have to be right.
Exactly. Yeah, preach it. Amen.
Yeah. Thanos should be snapped back.
Snap back, Thanos. Clap back.
They should have put him up his butt and exploded him.
Put him up his butt.
Put him up his butt. Well, folks, speaking of butts, you ready to get out of here? I can hit this. Oh, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. Folks, wishlist spotlight for this week is Scarlet Deer Inn. Do you like Pentiment? Do you like embroidery? Then play the Scarlet Deer Inn, because this person, they took Pentiment and they said, you know, Pentiment's got great art style, it's got great text, and then what if all the characters and everything I made hand embroidered on an embroidery machine and then took pictures of them, and that's what they are in the video game. It looks really fun. I don't know anything more than that because I saw that much of it and I got really excited. So it basically looks like that. I don't know any of the gameplay mechanics, so go wishlist it. Scarlet Deer Inn on Steam, because just to support embroidery. I mean, yeah. Oh, there's this GIF here of them embroidering it. And you're like, yeah, do it. Absolutely do it. God bless. There's a picture of a man with a lute.
You ever embroidered?
Have I ever? No, I keep getting those ads for the person who embroiders like Windows 95 icons on t-shirts.
Ooh.
And I keep being like, I could give you $50 for this t-shirt, or I could buy an embroidery machine and make one for like $1,000. So I'll get the embroidery machine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've done cross stitch. I've done crochet. I've never done embroidery.
It looks like fun because I feel like it combines programming and knitting.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. We should get an embroidery machine. Basically, it boils down to. So check it out on Steam. It should be fun. Wishlist it. Give those wishlist developers a little bit of a boost, and they'll be happy for it. Anyways, let's get the heck out of here because I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I'm gonna hit this button.
Let's do it.
Folks, subpixelfilms.com is where you can go see all of our hot content. This Thursday is Thanksgiving here in America, so we will not be streaming or doing anything. But then this weekend, I think we are going to be playing. We had written Bad Company 2, I think is what we were thinking of playing. I'm not sure if it was a PC version or the Xbox.
It's dying at the end of this month. They're shutting down the servers.
Damn, those bastards. And then I tentatively put this for next Tuesday, but I want to play some of that Lethal Company game because it looks really fun. Subpixelfilms.com is where you can see all of our Linktree stuff, buy some merch, do whatever you want. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I've been your host, Will Crosby, at Hunt270 on Twitter. That's Ian Gibson at Think Gibson on Twitter, at SubPixelTeam on all of the social medias. Go check us out, and we'll see you all this weekend. Bye.
Bye.